What up, what up, what up, what up, what up, and what up again, Milwaukee? It's your boy, P. Skip. You've just entered into his course. We are the #1 faith-based sports talk show in the entire world. Squadding up today, we got T-Mac.
Hola.
Chili Willie.
Gracias, amigo. And can I welcome T back to the program?
Thank you, sir.
Welcome
Glad
back,
to be
sir.
back.
All right.
T-Mac is back. So listen, y'all, a lot to talk about. We haven't gotten to this subject. Again, want to thank Leroy Butler for being with us, hanging out with us a couple weeks ago. Great show.
Oh, yeah, lots of fun.
Great stand-in for T-Mac.
Thank you, sir.
He wanted to know if he could have, like, your spot.
That would be a no. Thank you.
Hey, but I cut a deal with him. I said, if you get into the Hall of Fame, T-Mac is out.
See. That's how your brothers be. You know what I'm saying?
These bros ain't loyal. So listen.
Right.
You know, there has been a huge shakeup in the NBA with all these free agents going all over the place. And what I want to do is I want to talk about that. And one of the things I want to read this scripture. And it's dealing with Saul and how Saul went from being a persecutor of the church to now being one of the biggest advocates and the biggest spreader of the gospel. And let me just read the scripture. Here's where Paul was beginning to persecute the church. And he was saying this. Now, Saul was consisting or watching the death. And this was the death of Stephen. And at the time, a great persecution arose against the church, which was at Jerusalem. And they were all scattered throughout the region of Judea and Samaria, except the apostles. And devout men carried Stephen to his burial and made a great lamentation. And here's verse 3 says, this is chapter 8, Acts 8, verse 1 through 3, and it says this, and Saul, he made havoc of the church, entering every house and dragging off men and women, committing them to prison. Now, jump over to Acts chapter 9, verse 1. Here's where Saul begins to change squads. Right now he's on I hate the church is garbage, they're anti-God. So now starting at verse 1, it says, now Saul, still breathing threats and murder against the disciples of the Lord and restlessness in his search for believers, went to the high priest, and he asked for letters of authority from them in the synagogue of Damascus, so that if he had found any men or women they were belonging to the way of the believers, followers of Jesus Christ the Messiah, men and women alike, he could arrest them and bring them bound with chains to Jerusalem. Now, if you drop down to verse 4, it says this. Now, let me read this. Let me read 3. Now, as he traveled, he approached Damascus, and suddenly a light from heaven flashed around him, displaying glory and majesty of Christ. And he fell to the ground and heard a voice saying from heaven, saying to him, Saul, Saul, why are you persecuting and opposing me? And here you have guys switching teams. They're going from opposing different teams to now teaming up on the same team. You got what's happening in OKC. You got the dismantling of OKC, the Thunder. You've also got what's happening with the Clippers. You got LA, what's happening there. You got the West really beginning to stock up and stack up players to fight one another. And again, I said it last show, and I'll say it again because Will is still here, and I'm saying it right here to his face. The champion is coming out of the East again. And I'm sure, Will, you have plenty to say about that.
Of course I do. Like I said in the last show, the king with the little K has so much help. He has the Brow that's coming in, that's arguably the best big man in the game. He also has Boogie Wonderland.
Boogie Wonderland.
Man, Boogie got a chip on his shoulder as big as Mount Rushmore. They've been dogging Boogie. They've been talking about him, talking about his name. Boogie was one of the most feared people in the NBA, and he went and had an injury, and everybody forgot about him. And I'm telling you right now, if you see Boogie coming, hide the women and children. This man got something on his mind, and he got something to prove, and he's rolling with LeBron in the brow. It's going to be tough beating L.A. Now, everybody's high on the Clippers, and I'm high on the Clippers too. But the Clippers only got one person who's won a championship.
Right.
Let me say that again. They got one person who has ever won a championship. I don't know. I think they only got one person who's ever played in the championship.
Wait a minute. LA's only got one, too, though.
Yeah, they got Roger and Rondo, too.
Yeah, they got Rondo.
Oh, okay. Well,
They got Rondo.
do you
who got
really
a
want to
ring.
add him into the mix?
He got a ring.
He got a ring.
And if
That's
he win
right.
another one,
Yeah.
he might be in the Hall of Fame. Don't sleep on Rondo.
Yeah.
So the Lakers have everything they need, including the King, including the Brow, including Boogie, including Rondo, and Kyle Kuzma, a nice young. They got everything they
Some
need
athleticism.
to come out of the. Only thing that is suspect for me with the Lakers is coaching.
Yeah, I mean, and that's a pretty big crutch to have. And I think it was Isaiah Thomas, the original Pistons Hall of Famer, Zeke, who said that the NBA has not done right by LeBron James by having him with these YMCA almost like coaches.
Right.
Other players have had the Phil Jacksons of the world and other Hall of Fame folks. LeBron has been able to do what he's been doing with arguably subpar coaching. And I don't know if Fred Hoiberg changes that narrative at all, but I think that LA has a lot going for them. And as a LeBron James fan, I wouldn't have any problem with them winning the championship. My concern, though, is that there are a couple of contingencies I think that they would need to come to fruition for them to go all the way.
Who's their biggest challenger?
I think the biggest challenger for them is the Clippers.
Okay.
And
You know, the guys are sharing their gym.
yeah,
Okay.
right. They're roommates.
Right.
So, I mean, I think that, LeBron and AD, I think they're going to do well. Hopefully, LeBron James is growing injury. He hasn't had a major injury in his career.
Right.
High school, pro, and that was a pretty serious injury. He lost a month or two, from playing, but hopefully he's fully rested, fully recovered, and it's not something that recurs for them. I think also you have a guy that's a wild card like a Rajon Rondo, who on one hand has won the championship with Boston, but on the other hand can be kind of flaky and can be kind of foul in the locker room. Given
Pancakey.
LeBron, and they brought him back, so I think that there's an understanding of, hey, bro, we appreciate what you can bring to the table. Just behave yourself before we have to bust you in the face.
Wow.
Now, I think
It's gotten that serious.
the other two contingencies, I mean, a great pickup I think they got was Avery Bradley, who used to be with Boston.
Huge
Great
pickup.
Two-way player.
Huge
clutch.
pickup.
He can almost be a Derek Fisher kind of contributor to them. Clutch, making it get a big steal, hitting a big
Great
basket.
decision maker.
All of that. And if Kuzma can arrive at anywhere near his potential, budding all-star type of deal, he could make up the third leg of that stool with KD and LeBron. The challenge, on the other hand, is that in addition to Houston and Denver and others, but the Clippers having Kawhi demonstrated that he can take a team that has just some pieces and take them all the way to the championship. He's a two-way player, arguably, one of the best players in the game, might vie for the MVP if he can stay healthy coming into this new year. And I think the wild card that they have, the difference between them and the Lakers, they also have Doc Rivers, who, quiet as kept, is one of the best coaches in the game and has some hardware and, more importantly, knows how to extract the best out of his players. So if he can keep those guys playing on the level of, hey, you guys are the best team in the league, it's your time now to take over L.A. You don't need to be little sister or little brother anymore to the Lakers. This is our town. Let's show these jokers what we got to prove. They might run the table.
Let me just comment on this. Congratulations to the Toronto Raptors and Kawhi Leonard for their accomplishment. But it's an asterisk by this championship, because if Malcolm Brogdon would have been healthy and not overweight in the playoffs, they wouldn't have got out of Milwaukee alive. Milwaukee already had them up 2-0 and had them on the ropes. And Brogdon did not play who say that Brogdon played his normal Brogdon self in that series? He did not. Other people rose up. Then he get even luckier with KD going out, and then Thompson goes out.
Yeah.
So Kyrie got lucky.
Kawhi?
He got lucky. I mean, Kawhi. Kawhi got lucky. If those things didn't break in his way, we wouldn't be singing his praises like this right now. Because if KD would not have gotten hurt, Kawhi would not have an NBA championship right now. So all of the stuff that he's accomplished, it comes with an asterisk in my book.
Let me say this, though. If was a fifth, we'd all be drunk. Now, with that being said, if don't mean nothing.
Let me get a double shot of that.
Hey, but it don't mean that because...
If means a world championship to Kawhi Leonard.
But you also got to remember, Kawhi still won championships and was MVP when he was with San Antonio.
I don't take that away from the man.
And then going back to L.A., who can shoot? I don't see any 3 shooters on L.A. squad.
No.
They got Danny Green. They picked up Danny Green.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
But Danny Green, again, iffy. Because
and that's another championship when we start talking about who has championships.
Right.
Danny Green.
I forgot about Danny Green.
Quinn Cook from Golden State.
Quinn Cook has a championship.
Right. And so I'm looking at, okay, you got to spread that offense out to allow LeBron, AD, and Boogie to do what they do.
Yes,
because if they clog in the middle, you're going to see what Antetokounmpo saw.
Yeah.
You're going to see the same thing.
Definitely.
The wall. And so they have to have somebody, and they're probably going to make some more moves to get some shooters because you got to surround LeBron, AD, and Boogie with shooters to allow them to have the spacing to do it. Because you can't have both of them posting at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, so somebody's got to spread that out and get them open. Now, mind you, both of them can hit the 3.
Yeah.
Both of them can take their player off the dribble. Boogie, we'll see what his legs can do more of.
And Boogie can shoot too now. Boogie
that's what I said. Both of them can shoot the 3.
Okay.
And so, but what I'm saying is you still got to have some 3 shooters around them to really spread them out and really allow them to do. Because if they know we clog you in the middle, so you got to shoot a 3, we done kind of just cut half your game out. Yeah. Half your game out.
Let's talk about some of the other people who may be a threat in the West.
Yeah.
You know, you don't hear any talk about Denver anymore since all these trades.
Who isn't a threat in the West? Honestly, who's not a threat?
Yeah.
Sacramento is probably not a threat.
Okay.
Golden State is probably not a threat at this point. Dallas
Do you
probably
think
is
they're
not
gonna
a
make
threat.
the playoffs?
They'll make the playoff, but they're not a threat to win a championship.
Yeah.
You got
Memphis?
Houston, Denver,
Memphis.
Portland.
Memphis is not a threat, but Houston, Portland, Denver, Utah, San Antonio is always, you can never just write them off.
Can't leave Pop.
Yeah, so it's going to be tough. It's going to be some tough sledding in the West.
No doubt.
Very tough sledding.
So do you think with the acquisition with Houston, with the acquisition of Westbrook, do you think they got better or worse?
Better. Yeah, better.
But does Westbrook need the ball more than Chris Paul?
It's yet to be seen, but don't forget, Westbrook is a triple threat, the king of the triple threat. So only one part of the triple threat is scoring. The other part is assists and rebounds, and he's known to be a lockdown defender. So he has a total all-around game. The worst part of his game is his shooting percentage, and I'm pretty sure he's in the gym as we speak working on that. So Houston is a legitimate threat in the West. A legitimate threat, not kind of. They're a legitimate threat.
Yeah, they have a solid squad. I mean, I think their team is solid because once you get past Harden and Westbrook, you still have Clint Capella, who's a capable big man. You also got Eric Gordon, who is lights out as a starter or coming off the bench.
Right.
And you have the grimy folks like P.J. Tucker.
Yes.
Who's still in the mix.
Isn't Nene still on the squad?
Nene is still there.
Yeah, they got
so
some
they
people.
have depth. And I think that with, the difference between Russ and Chris both can be kind of acrimonious kind of players. I think there are two major differences as it relates to Houston. Number one, it seems like around the league, Chris Paul kind of rubbed folks kind of the wrong way. There's been a lot of things from other players,
seems to be his history.
former teammates. Yeah.
So he's
yeah.
the modern day Isaiah Thomas.
Yeah, just maybe even a little bit worse in terms of like people respected Isaiah because Isaiah
Won
two-time
championships.
champion.
He won championships,
You know what I'm saying? Well, fight a joker.
Went back to back
blow.
with the least amount of help in the history of the game.
And he had like what 28 or 29 points in that quarter off a bad
Yeah.
ankle too.
Yeah.
I mean, so
Broken.
Yeah. So they respected him. They don't respect Chris like that. And I think as far as Russell Westbrook coming, one advantage is he was a former teammate of Harden.
Right.
So he knows him. It's kind of a reunion of sorts.
Right.
And he probably will have the benefit of Harden seeing what the disintegration of a relationship can be. Harden might have even learned from some of the things that him and Chris Paul went through that he won't necessarily do with Russ because of his personality, because of also being former teammates. And I think Russ, understanding that, okay, Father Time is undefeated. You've been in the league about a good 10 years now with not any hardware. This is time for you to tweak your game, too, and come to the table as well-behaved as you can while at the same time performing. Playing with Mike D'Antoni, to me, seems like he's a player's coach, one that says, hey, man, I'll give y'all free reign if y'all can deliver. Just don't have me looking bad. And as a player, I think that's kind of what you want, to be able to have the freedom to show I got the goods, man. So I think they are primed to make a pretty deep run as well. They'd have to hit on all cylinders because the West, of course, is stacked. And we talked about the top of the food chain, the L.A. squads. But Houston, they are a legitimate championship
they're right there.
threat too.
They're right there. Yeah.
So do you think the LA squads are Lakers 1, Clippers 2?
That's what
I'll
I think.
reverse it.
I don't know. I don't believe you asked me that question.
I'll reverse it. Well, first, you know what Will is on that.
You know what
I'll say
He's
you
a
gotta
Laker
know-
homie.
You got two sides of the same coin. You got heads and tails. You know
Right.
what I'm saying?
1A, 1, they could flip. And that could be consistent on who they're playing that week. But so you got the LA teams 1 and 2. So you're looking at maybe Houston 3. Who are you looking at in that 4th spot?
I really
Utah.
I really like Denver, man.
I like Utah.
Denver
And nobody
Portland.
likes Portland?
Yeah, Denver and Portland. I mean,
Portland is good. The West is deep. It's hard. I mean, on any given night, any one of those teams, you guys are not vibing Utah. But I'm telling you this now. Utah is nice. And for them to get
The
Mike
Joker
Conley,
is no joke.
to get Mike Conley
Right.
over
Ricky Rubio.
Ricky Rubio, man, that's going from
Upgrade.
first class to coach to first class.
I don't. I will say that I think Mike Conley is a better player than Ricky. I will say that. I think the challenge with Conley is that I think he's on the back end of his best years in his career.
Agreed.
Last couple of years, he's been a little. Hasn't been really the Mike Conley of old, because Mike Conley, clutch, and he's Mike Conley. Matter of
Yeah.
fact,
But you
one of
also
the
got to
highest-
remember, like, Memphis has been terrible.
he was touche.
It's hard to be great with crap around you.
And he didn't have shooters, and the league is a shooters league.
Right.
He didn't have any shooters.
I would say the difference, though, is that Ricky Rubio, compliment to Donovan Mitchell, you have some folks that are, I guess, a good fit for a team.
Right.
While he might be a better player than Ricky Rubio, I think Ricky Rubio was a great fit for Utah, and I don't know if Mike Conley can be a better fit than what Ricky Rubio
Well, it's yet to
already
be
was.
seen.
Yeah. I hear your argument, and a lot I agree with in being that can Mike Conley willing to say this is your squad and prefer him?
Yeah, defer
Because-
to him.
He has
Yeah.
no choice.
You have a choice. You have a choice.
That's Carmelo Anthony.
Right. Because Carmelo said, me coming off the bench, well, now you on the bench watching the game.
Yeah.
And so there's choices that you got to make if you want to stay in this league. And pride has to be one of them that you got to put down, especially when you're not at a place where you can demand some things. 10 years ago, Melo said, I ain't coming off the bench, and everybody like, why would he come off the bench?
Right.
Now they're trying to see if he's even good enough to play on the USA basketball team. Not the Olympics. I'm just talking about, the World Cup. So we're really looking at, it's like you guys have been, like we've been saying, it's really any one of those three you could juggle up, and however it comes down, it comes down.
Injury.
Yep.
An injury could be a big difference.
But I'm with you with Utah. Utah is, as much as they've shown you that we're good, people are still looking at them and saying, Utah is good, but I'm still not giving them any respect.
Yeah.
You know, and you got to realize their other big man was injured. Their other big man didn't even play in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And so the Joker pretty much held it down himself. And so now you're looking at that guy's coming back. Now they got twin towers.
Yeah.
Twin towers that both play defense, that could pass and could score, along with Murray doing what he does.
You talking about Denver or you talking about Utah?
I'm sorry, I'm talking about Denver.
Denver.
My bad.
Yeah.
Denver.
Denver.
My bad. Denver.
Michael Porter is who you're referring to.
Right. Right. And so you're looking at Denver going, we better not sleep on Denver.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, the Joker did his thing last year, and they weren't that far off of winning that last series.
It's going to be it's going to be a great competitive year. Lots for the fans to look forward to.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you something else. We talk about this all the time, but coaching is going to play a huge role in the success of teams this year. And that's the Achilles heel that I think the Lakers may have and the Clippers may have over the Lakers, because I think Doc Rivers is a better coach than the Lakers head coach.
He's like the Black Pop.
Yeah.
So
Coaching has a lot to do with it. That's why when we start talking about coming out of the East, I think we have the reigning coach of the year, and coaching is going to play a big role. We have the reigning MVP, and all of that gives the Bucks a good chance to win even more than 60 games this year.
Who do you think the Bucks' biggest nemesis is going to be?
Philly.
Philly. Yeah. What about 2 years from now? Because then KD's supposed to be back and healthy.
I'm not worried about KD and Kawhi together. I'm not worried about that. To me, I think eventually that's going to self-destruct.
Yeah, because both players are, I don't know, have a history of
Kyrie,
being
not
flaky.
Kawhi.
Oh, Kyrie, yeah. I keep saying, I get Kyrie and Kawhi mixed up.
Maybe they're going to play together soon.
I get them mixed up all the time.
I think that the Bucks, I would agree that the 76ers are probably their biggest challenge this year. But I still like, Boston. And they kind of remind me of, Gideon in the Bible. He, went to him, you got Kemba Walker. Well, hey, you're going to replace Kyrie Irving. How are you going to be able to do that? The loss of, Horford and, Terry Rozier. Similar to Gideon, he said, well, hey, mighty man of valor, go on out and defeat this army that was, clocking y'all for these last couple of years. He said, well, how am I going to be able to do that? Go get some men and make it happen. So he went and got like 30,000 people. Thought that he had to have a whole big army to do it.
Right.
And God told him, you got too much. He said, what you mean? He said, you got to shrink that down. So he shrunk it down. Still had too many with like 10,000 folks. Got down to 300 and was able to win the victory. I think Boston has done a lot of addition by subtraction, even though they've lost, the two All-Stars in Kyrie and Horford, as well as Rozier. I think the quality that they've gotten in Kemba Walker and the chemistry that he will probably bring to the team with Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and other players that they have left, Gordon Hayward, if he approaches anywhere near his former Utah Jazz All-Star status, I think will be really, really helpful for them as well. And so because they don't have as much attention on them, they'll probably be able to play with less pressure because people aren't expecting much of them. And that'll be prime pickings of others because they can, in that locker room, say, nobody is believing in us, but who you looking at here in this locker room, let's go out and show them.
Yeah, I would, in a great, perfect world, that's the scenario.
Rocky Balboa, Doc.
Right. But I'm also looking at, first of all, you got to teach Kemba winning culture again, because he's been on a team of losing culture for years now. Since he's been in the league, their team has been terrible. So now he's got to relearn how to win again. I do think he's going to bring fresh wind to the team, fresh excitement, fresh enthusiasm. But there's something to say about knowing how to win and learning how to win. There's something to be said about that because somebody who already knows how to win, knows how to prepare for it, knows how to think during the
Rajon Rondo.
the adversity times.
I'm hearing voices.
Where's that voice coming from?
I
Did
don't
I hear
know.
somebody say Rajon Rondo?
Satan, the Lord rebukes you. No, but I agree. He does bring some things. But the one thing that I can say about Kemba, no one's ever said that he's been a bad teammate.
No.
No one's ever said that he's been bad in the locker room or bad chemistry. Rajon has done some stuff. You're like, dude, that's silly. On and off the court.
Yeah.
You know, he hated Chicago so much, he pretty much almost destroyed that team. They pretty much said, listen, I don't care how much we're paying you, you can go somewhere else.
Right. We'll give you away.
Right. You know, and so you really have to figure out which Rajon is coming. Is this a Rajon that wants to win? Or is this a Rajon that's going to be upset? You know, if you get the one that wants to win and looks at it like this may be another Boston opportunity, he's trouble.
He's trouble.
He's some problems.
That man can do a lot of things.
Yeah, he's got. Only
do
thing
a
he
lot of
can't do is
things.
hit a jumper.
Yeah, but he
got
can lock you up on defense.
Right.
And,
Yeah.
you know, and he playing
plenty of
chess
sense.
while everybody else playing checkers.
Before Russell Westbrook kind of emerged as the triple-double king, Rajon fried his cap. You
Right.
throw a
Right there.
triple-double.
Right
On
there.
a regular.
On a regular basis.
On a regular. So, you know, it is so wide open, and I love this parity that's happening right now in the league. But again, I'm thinking the Bucks are coming out of the East this year, or 2019, 2020 season. I think they're coming out of the East. I don't really know who's coming out of the West, but I do think it is the Bucks'
Okay, it's
opportunity.
L.A. is coming out of the West. Let me say that.
Right, you can say that.
Okay, L.A. is coming out of the West.
LA's coming out of the West, but I do think with all that's in the West, I still think it's the East to win. But again, that's all on paper and that's all our opinions and thoughts.
Yeah.
But the reality of it is when you throw the ball on the court, we shall see. So listen, you guys, thanks again for hanging out with us. Another amazing time with you at Into His Courts. I think we had a great show again. I want to thank again my squad, T-Mac and Chill Will.
What up,
All right, all
Until
right.
next week, again, same bat time, same bat channel, 7 to 7:30, right here on Jordan 1340 AM, 98.7 FM. Facebook, check us out. Instagram, check us out. Until next week, peace.
Bam.